Alright, welcome back. Sorry it's been a bit of a minute. I do apologise, I'm not going to go into details. You know how it is. If you know me by now, I'm a busy boy. Anyway, got a cup of tea today, got the rabbit mug. I've been looking forward to this all day. I've only had a coffee at work today, which was very much needed. Did a long run yesterday. Still training for the half marathon. Donation link is going to be in the description. It'll probably be the last time I post it in there as well, because thank you to some generous friends. I've actually hit my donation goal, which is sick. Proper gassed about that. But that is not what I've come here to talk about today. If you watched my last video, you will have seen that I was, the last video was actually filmed in Austria, which I mentioned in the video. I was away on a ski trip, and today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more. I haven't come here to talk about how much of a fun time I had on the ski trip. It was great, but there's a couple of stories I want to tell and a couple of things that I want to just recap on for those of you that haven't seen. So basically, the place that I was filming from it was like 2 weeks ago now, in Austria, is a place that I've been to before. And I realised when I got there, it had been like a good 8 years since I'd last went there. And in that time, my favourite bar in the town had like properly changed. It used to be a big like music venue, had a stage, disco ball and everything. And we went there this time and they'd like converted it into a restaurant upstairs, and then the bar downstairs was just your standard pub. It was great, we still had a nice time, but a lot of stuff had changed over time. And then it actually prompted me, because there was a day or two where I was telling my cousin who'd been there before as well, shout out Matt if you're watching, I was saying to him, this can't be the bar. Like, I'm sure it was this one by name, but it was so different when we were in here before, and there was no like advertisement to say they've revamped it or reopened it or anything. But between then and now, obviously COVID happened, and like a lot of businesses went through a massive change in that time. So I thought maybe they've just revamped it and, you know, built the restaurant upstairs. But to find out the answer that I was really wondering about, I went back through some videos that I recorded when I was in Austria in about 2016, 17, maybe 18, because that brings me on to the topic of this video, which is I've unprivated now some of my old content from when I would probably classify myself as a kid. I think I was 19 at the time, so legally, in the eyes of the law, I wasn't a kid, but I definitely felt like a kid. And what's crazy is I even look like a kid, talk like a kid, act like a kid. I'm so different nowadays to how I was back then, which isn't the biggest shock. It shouldn't come as a big shock to anyone, because, you know, over 8 years, people go through a lot changes in everyone's lives, not just mine. But I'm not gonna direct anyone to go and watch them. If you know me, you'll probably know where to find them, or you might know where to find them. Don't come asking me, because I will ignore your message. But yeah, they're on YouTube somewhere if you know where to look. I've just spilled some tea on my knee. Hopefully that isn't going to be too damaging. And hopefully not too much of a tea spill, because I'm actually really looking forward to this. But yeah, so somewhere on YouTube, again, I'm not going to direct you there or link to it or anything, there are videos of me vlogging when I was kind of ahead of my time, you know. Vlogging was like a bit of a weird thing. Like back then, if you were vlogging, you got a bit of a weird look. Nowadays, you just get your eyes rolled at you and people are like, oh, influencers, want to be celebrities and all that. That wasn't me at the time. But you know what? I don't really know what I was doing vlogging for back then. Well, I do, but I don't think it's easy to summarise. There wasn't sort of one main reason, but back then I was getting into filmmaking. I was a big fan of Casey Neistat. Obviously, he was the godfather of vlogging, especially on YouTube. Wasn't the first, and, you know, definitely wasn't the last, but he absolutely ruled the roost on YouTube for like a good couple of years. I think he vlogged like every day for 2 years, which was crazy. Honestly, the most impressive thing, and obviously made a lot of money off the back of it, which was absolutely deserved, because this is like a relentless task and a relentless job if you do it as a job. Obviously, I'm not doing it as a job. Sorry if I've just hit the mic. But yeah, I'd kind of say I was ahead of my time. If I'd done vlogging a little bit, if I was a bit older and probably a bit more of a role model, I maybe could have accrued a bit more of an audience. But back then I wasn't trying to be a role model. I definitely wasn't a role model. You know, I was probably looked up to by some people in my life that were younger than me, but I was very much doing it as someone that was inspired by the generation above me. There was the likes of Casey Neistat, Ben Brown, Louis Cole, I don't know if you remember Fun for Louis, and even like the Brit crew, you had like Alfie Days, Marcus Butler, Casper Lee, all them lot. But I was more interested in the travel vloggers. Ben Brown, I don't think it was as famous as the others, but yeah, he really inspired me. But pretty much it actually comes full circle nicely to why I actually started this channel. Because I know it's not probably that clear to a lot of people that click on these videos and find these videos, but the reason I started this channel was to reflect on, well, for my future self to reflect on my current self. And that's exactly what I did when I was in Austria. I found my old videos from Austria from like 8 years ago. I watched through them to see if I could like find what the bar was that I was looking for, so we could all go and have a nice time in this bar. And I think it just had changed. I'm pretty sure, I'm still sure it was the Whiskey Mule Bar in Austria. If anyone's interested, if anyone knows it, leave a comment below. If you've been to Seoul in Austria, please tell me if the Whiskey Mule Bar got revamped. I should have just asked the people in there, you know. I'm sure they would have had an answer, but for whatever reason I didn't. But yeah, I was watching my old videos back and God, I look so different. My face has changed. I think even like, dare I say it sounds mental to say, I think even like the way my accent has changed, like the way I talk. I don't know, I think someone at the work told me the other day I was a little bit well-spoken, and I've never considered myself to be someone that's like well-spoken, but I don't know, I think I've become a bit more conscious of how I sound and how I'm perceived over time. Not in like an insecure way, just you know, I want to be somebody that people value what I say rather than just a big waffler, which is ironic because I'm sat here waffling and this is what I like to do, clearly with my spare time in the evenings that I have, but also not really because I haven't posted in 2 weeks, so I need to get my act together a little bit more. I have got, for the first time, I've got a long list of videos that I want to make, so there will be all sorts of content in the same chatty style. It's kind of like a solo podcast, this channel, isn't it really? I'm not going to be doing anything that requires editing or, you know, significant camera work or anything like that. I'm not going to be showing off anything specific, but it's going to be a lot of talking, and if you're here for the talking, then feel free to stick around. But yeah, I've got some stories I want to tell and some things that I want to discuss and some advice for my past self, which could be somebody else watching this video, or my future self maybe. But yeah, that's what I've got planned. I'm not going to go into details too much of specifics because that's for me to know and you guys to find out. But one thing I did want to talk about is on my ski holiday, while that's the topic of this video, I had a couple of friends that were learning to ski for the first time, hadn't skied before, and it was their first experience of it. Now, I might name them, but maybe I won't, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Shout out Dan and Jake if you're watching. It just helps me tell the story a little bit more, so sorry if you didn't want to be named. But, so, in particular, so these guys had lessons for the 5 or 6 days that we were there. I think we skied 6 days, they had lessons for 5. And the last day of skiing, there was no lessons, and we took our good friend Jake around the mountain all over the shop with us, and it was probably the most fun day I've had skiing, maybe ever, but definitely in a long time. Shout out Jake if you're watching, because I mean, Jake's been my friend for a couple of years now, and you learn a lot about somebody when you see them like out of their comfort zone. And the only time we've done anything similar is we climbed Scaffold Pike in the Lake District. Is it the Lake? It's the Lake District or the Peak District? I think it's the Lake District. Just over a year ago probably. So that was like early morning, like we were all grumpy and all shoved into one car, sat together sort of chatting and just waffling and telling each other stories and learning about each other and stuff. But at the top of a red run on a ski resort, on a day when the sun is out and the snow has gone to slush and it's difficult to ski on, you learn a lot about somebody. And this guy was making my day, and I'm so happy because I could tell he had the best time as well. So to give you an idea of what it was like, now we went on a little journey that probably took the experienced skiers amongst us the day before about 2 hours, 3 hours with a stop. And we took Jake with us one day and it took us all day, because let me tell you, this guy, was we'd get to the top of a red run, we'd give him the little pep talk, be like, broski, you can do this, we would not bring you here if you couldn't. And he would look down it and you could just kind of see the cogs turning in his brain and, you know, thinking, can I get down this? And bless him, man, he talks himself round every time. And so the way all these slopes went and the way they'll forever be remembered by me, and which is why I'm kind of immortalising it on YouTube, because it's a day I do really want to remember, is he stood at the top of the mountain. And do you know what? Let me not slaughter you too much, Jake, because if you are watching this, after 1 week of lessons, you could ski, mate. Like, you were really, really good. And yeah, this guy was superb, fearless actually. And I don't know if anybody watching this has tried skiing before, but you have to be pretty fearless to ski. It's not like, I wouldn't class it as an extreme sport, but some people actually would. So that said, yeah, this guy was stood at the top of runs that probably his instructor wouldn't have taken him down. And the way it sort of went was, you know, turn one, success. And then on a steeper run, you pick up speed a lot earlier than you do on like easier slopes. So after turn one, he picked up a lot of speed, fell over, and he was like this mastermind. He fell over with the same technique every time and got up with the same technique. And I think his instructor said to him he was going to be the best one on the mountain at getting up after the end of that week. And that was probably accurate, because this guy fell over 1,000,000 times and got up 1,000,001. And yeah, it was sick. Like, he did one turn, fell over, I would ski down, pick him up, ski again, turn two, success, fall over, I'm skiing down, peeling him off the floor, turn three, same thing. And by this point, he's like 3 turns down the slope, so he's probably halfway down. And then I think at that point, he could see the bottom, wasn't that far away, and then skied a lot better to the bottom. And I think mentally it's easier when you can see the end is in sight, but when you're at the top, I remember being a kid and learning to ski myself, and I was not a confident guy. And I think I probably am still, I still have the same sort of traits. I'm just a better skier nowadays. But yeah, and it just really made me think, like, you really learn a lot about people when you see them at the top of a mountain that they're unsure whether they can get down. So shout out to Jake. That was a proper fun day. And yeah, that's a little story about how we took our friend skiing and he came out on top. And yeah, like, touch wood, we all survived the trip with no broken bones, no injuries, and yeah, had a great time. So definitely would do again. But yeah, that's all from me today. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the story about my friend Jake. I might actually send him this video and just be like, broski, it's already live, but if you don't want to be in it, I can take it down. Hopefully he doesn't. So if you see this video, comment below saying, Jake, you're a legend, because that also means that he hasn't asked me to take it down. So yeah, is my mic still? I thought my mic was gone. I couldn't see it in the camera. But yeah, also for those of you that are interested, a little Easter egg for all my videos now. I sometimes tell people about what I've got on the TV, because I probably look away from the camera, like past the camera, a lot more than I should in these videos. And on the TV today, I have a YouTuber called Wooden Potatoes, who is, this is proper, I'm going into One Sparrow lore here, this is crazy. There's a game called Guild Wars 2 that I'm like a massive fan of, that I've been a fan of for like years, probably more than I'm willing to admit. And this guy does like playthroughs of the game, and he's like the OG content creator for that game, and I'm just got a bit of a nostalgia hit right now. I'm hooking my veins up to that nostalgia, and it's doing the trick, and it's got me sat down ready to record a YouTube video, which is something I've been meaning to do for a long time. So thank you for tuning in. This has been a bit of a longer one, and I'll catch you soon.